Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Can Be Empower Her Talk Show. Um, we're going to be talking about shadow work and how does it work. First of all, I want to thank each and every person that I got an opportunity to meet at the AOC meeting. My husband really enjoyed himself. He will be very much remembered. Oh gosh, you guys, the funniest thing happened. Okay, so 8:30 every night, his phone goes off. The timer goes off on his phone because he has to take his chemo medicine, right? So it went off and he couldn't turn off his phone in time. So it went off for like maybe almost close to 30 seconds or a minute. It was so funny. So I was trying to get his phone so that I could turn it off. It didn't work. Okay. But he finally got it off. It was funny. Um, I had a great time. Met some wonderful people. Like I said, we had great prizes, and I think I'm going to make sure that I try to make those meetings as much as possible. But anyway, I want to thank AOC. I want to thank Cox Cable and LUS and the six surrounding parishes that actually view my show. Hopefully, I've been doing this a while, y'all. Okay, I've been doing this a while, right? All right. So as you know who I am, Coach Salida, and we're going to definitely be talking about something. Remember, we just went over the book, um, Spiritual Sisterhood, Nurturing the Intuition in Women of Color, Young Women of Color. And we covered so much with that. That was a great book, and it kind of got me to thinking about one of the chapters, kind of got me salivating about discussing shadow work, okay, and how important it is for us to get to the point where we're all right with ourselves and we're comfortable enough to definitely embrace, okay, our shadow work. I mean, our shadow, yeah, taking the time out to understand what shadow work is, because I mean, we say it, so what does it mean? What does that mean? Okay, so first of all, we're going to find out what shadow work, and I'm going to try to play some audio. It's an audio book that I have been reading, and I want to play a portion of it so you guys can get a gist of what shadow work is on the method of what they're talking about, and then what this book right here talking about, which I got on TikTok. I think we talked about this book before. I think I shared some stuff with you guys in it, but I want to bring it back up again because I think it's needed in a time like this. All the stuff that we're going through um, is definitely a conversation piece that needs to be had. And you know what else came to mind when I thought about this? The young lady, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this young lady who went back to work and murdered her boss. Okay. And that came to mind as I was thinking about, talking about shadow work, because shadow work is the deeper, darker side of us that we don't show to everybody else. And I think probably somewhere in there, she was having that issue and she never had it resolved. I don't know if she was going to therapy. I don't know anything about that, but she was at the point, she was at that breaking point. And because she was at that breaking point, um, that was what she did. She left work and came back to work and she stabbed her boss to death. Okay. And this lady, her boss had like six kids, and she knew the kids. You see, so this is the reason why I think this is a great conversation that needs to be had. Okay, all right. Me with my wild hair today. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to talk about shadow work. What is shadow work? First of all, what is it? We're going to talk about what it is, the benefits of it, and how to it work, because we'll definitely do that. Okay. So it says shadow work is about revealing the unknown. Um, the shadow is an unconscious aspect of your personality that the ego does not identify with. Okay, your ego doesn't want to talk about it, doesn't want to see it, don't bring it up, the whole 9 yards, right? Um, you may experience your shadow when you're triggered and social interactions, um, relationships, okay, and episodes of anxiety or sadness, okay? Those are the ways that it can surface. The unconscious mind contains repressed emotions from painful events, causing impulsive behavior and unwanted patterns that form your dark side. In short, the shadow is composed of the parts of yourself that you have forgotten, abandoned, and repressed in order to grow and fit in with the mode of society. So it's that dark little creepy place in the back of your brain, your subconscious, that has so much stuff sitting there, right? Now, for example, think back to your childhood and recall the ways in which you would express yourself only to be rejected. You may have been crying and told not to stop crying. You may have been laughing uncontrollable in a classroom and given a dirty glance from your teacher or peers. I think a lot of people, young people, who have issues with reading, and this just came to my mind. And what happens is they're forced to stand up in the classroom and read out loud. And to some, that's very humiliating because they already know they're having issues with reading out loud, right? So that's what just came to my mind when we talk about that. And the kids laughing at the way you read. Yeah. There are countless ways in which you may have been reprimanded for what was deemed as bad and praised for what was considered good. Learning to adjust your behavior accordingly. So you knew, or your emotions, how to handle something that was bad. How did you handle that? Did you get upset? Were you mad? And then when it's good, you're smiling, you're laughing, and you're doing more good stuff. Okay. So you're taught how to know what's bad and then what is good. These repressed parts of yourself don't go away forever. They are stored and locked inside your conscious mind. Shadow work is the process of revealing, accepting, and integrating these parts of yourself that you have repressed and rejected. Um, it says here, okay, so the goal is to make the unconscious conscious so that you may work on them in self reflection and acceptance, being able to accept those things. While anyone can do shadow work, a licensed mental health expert is a good option, especially for individuals who have experienced severe trauma or abuse. So the everyday Joe Schmo can do it if it's not to the point where it has a lot of severe trauma or abuse in it. Okay, if you're dealing with something on a lower scale, then yeah, you can do it. But if it's something like that, you need to definitely make sure you're seeking the right help. Okay, so the first thing we do before we even begin, we have to set an intention, and notice and question your own reactions to these things that are happening. The shadow is apparent and strong emotions and dissatisfaction. Be sure to keep a mental log of sensations to truly understand where patterns occur and use this journal, which you can't use the journal. It's a tool to identify what causes them. Um, so yeah, so that's what it's saying about it. So now we're talking about why is it important? Again, I go back to the young lady who did the stabbing at her job. So let's talk about why. There was something traumatic that triggered her. Something triggered her to put on her clothes and go back to work because she had left work. Something triggered her. So what triggered her? And because again, I'm just saying, she probably never did anything dealing with shadow work. She probably never got professional help. I am not sure about that. I'm not going to sit here and say I know that, but she's a perfect example of how our anger can get out of hand, how we're not, we don't have that support system that we need. Okay, so that's a perfect example of that. So why shadow work is important? There are many benefits to shadow work. Your pains and triggers can be guides to help you understand what you deeply care about, okay? Bringing you closer to your life purpose. Conversely, you will come to identify the toxic patterns in your life and change them quickly and completely. Another benefit for shadow work is that you will develop more courage, okay, and confidence to face the unknown and embody your whole self. You'll be able to handle things differently, okay? You'll develop a deeper love and acceptance and understanding of yourself because we know that's very important. All right, which helps improve your relationships with others, right? So think about it, if she would have gotten this help, um not to say that she didn't love herself, but there was a side of her that was hurting. There was a side of her that was her shadow work could have helped the dark desires that's inside her, the dark side of her where the rage took over. Practicing shadow work helps you separate from egotistical thoughts, and will increase empathy and compassion for others, which we saw that maybe when she hit that threshold, that didn't matter anymore. Compassion, in turn, helps exercise other forms of positive emotions like gratitude that can better your mental and physical health. Okay? Now, when you fail to face and deal with your shadow elements, it can be the seed of adversity, and prejudice between unrepresented groups or individuals, and can trigger anything from a small argument to a major war. So when you look at the elements of the shadow, and you don't resolve those elements and they have a lot of negative connotations to them, that whatever, then yeah, you're going to be arguing a lot and it can be an all out. That's where the abuse comes in. Okay. Recognizing shadow elements is an integral part of becoming compassionate and reasonable individual. Okay. So let's talk about the father of shadow work. His name is Carl Jung. The concept of the shadow was first developed by Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Carl Jung. Jung, I think that's how you say his last name, believed that exploring the shadow was essential for personal growth and individuation. The process of becoming one's authentic self, the shadow refers to the unconscious parts of our psyche that contains our repressed thoughts, feeling, and impulses. It is the side of ourselves that we reject or hide from others. and often from ourselves. However, these repressed aspects of ourselves can still influence our behavior and emotional, even though we don't know it at the time, but it's also affecting us. It's making us make decisions, thinking a certain way. Yeah, it's emotional and influence our behavior and our emotional states. Yes, it secretly does that, and we don't know it's doing that. So, um, let's talk a little bit about understanding the psyche. What is the psyche? What is it? All right. The psyche is a term used to describe the inner world of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. It is the source of our experiences, motivations, and behaviors. Okay. It is constantly evolving and changing throughout our lives. Understand that the psyche is the key to understanding ourselves and the world around us. Wow. Jung believed that the psyche was composed of several distinct but interrelated parts, including the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, and the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious. Now we're going to know what all four of those mean. So the first one is the conscious mind. This is part of our psyche that is aware of our thoughts and experiences. The unconscious mind contains thoughts, feelings, and experiences that are outside our conscious awareness. The personal unconscious is the part of the psyche that contains with our repressed thoughts and feelings and experiences, while the collective unconscious is the part of the psyche that contains archetypes and universal symbols and themes that are shared by all people. One of the key benefits of understanding the psyche is increased self-awareness. When we have a greater understanding of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. We can make more conscious choices, improve our relationships with others, and reduce anxiety and stress. Wow. All right. So, this saying from Carl Jung is the meaning of two personalities is like contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. So if one reacts, something's going to happen to the other. If the other reacts, then something's going to happen. So either way it goes, there's going to be a chain reaction. Something is going to take place. Okay. And again, it says it transforms. Now, let's talk a little bit about mind traps. Okay. What are traps? So we're going to talk about what does it mean by talking about mind traps, right? Is that what I want to say? Yeah, that's what I want to say. So it says here, mind traps consist of anchoring, confirmation bias, reactance, sunk cost fallacy, the Dunning-Kruger effect, backfire effect, declinism, framing effect, and negativity bias. So, what does all those mean? Okay, we're talking about our mind. Let's go to our mind. Now, the first one is anchoring. The first thing you judge influences your judgment of all that follows. So, once you start judging something, you have opened the floodgate, basically. Confirmation bias. You favor things that confirm your existing beliefs. Let me say that one again. You only favor things that confirm your existing beliefs. So, whatever your existing beliefs, anything that comes with it, that's what you use to confirm. Okay. Reactance. You'd rather do the opposite of what someone is trying to make you do. Let that one sink in. That is one of our mind traps. Sunk cost fallacy. You irrationally cling to things that have already cost you something. For example, a bad relationship. A bad relationship has already cost you heartache, pain, and everything else. But you come up with something very irrational to continue to hold on to that very thing that destroyed you. Think about it. The Dunning-Kruger effect, the more you know, the less confident you are likely to be. That's interesting. That one really hit me because why would I be more, why would I be less confident with all the information? And again, these are mind traps. This is what keeps us trapped in some of the negative things that we do, or things that we find ourselves being, or thinking. That's the word I want to use. Backfire effect. When your core beliefs are challenged, it can cause you to believe them even more strongly. It's like double downing on something that you believe, that someone showed you, proved to you that it's not what it says it is. But you're going to continue to believe it. You're going to be more hardcore on it. And let me tell you something. Another thing came to my mind is what I call them the MAGA people, right? And no matter what that person does, they continue to double down on believing. Your mind is trapped in believing that no matter what this person does, no matter what you say about him, I'm going to continue believing. Yeah, that's a perfect example. Declinism. You remember the past better than it was and expect the future to be worse than it will likely be. So we reminisce on the past, and even though you went through a traumatic moment, you cover it up in your mind. You're trapped in the ideal that it wasn't that bad. I survived it. Yeah, I might have a drinking problem, but I survived it, right? And then you look at the future and like, oh, it's not going to get any better. It's what it is. It is what it is what they say, right? Yeah. Even though hey, what's the use of trying to stop? What's the use of staying coherent? I mean, staying here in the mind. What's the use of that? You're thinking of the future and it's worse in your mind because you made the past better. That is called declinism. The framing effect, you allow yourself to be influenced by context and delivery. What someone says, no facts behind it, but it sounds so good. And you're so overwhelmed by the delivery. Okay. A motivating speaker is a perfect example. Not to say that they're all not saying the right things to you. I'm just saying they have a great delivery and the context sounds so good. Is there facts up under that, behind that? We don't know, but it sounds good. So we have that framing effect, right? And the last one is negativity bias. You allow negative things to disproportionately influence your thinking. Wow. Now, we're going to talk a little bit. I want to play the video, but I'm not going to. I'm going to I'm going to get, instead of the Audible, I will, because it's an Audible book, I'll get the book itself. And we'll go through the book. We'll do that. We'll do that better. We'll just get the book um, in Kindle. Okay. All right. I gotta see if I have any more books. We'll see if I have any more books in my library that we can that deals with shadow work. So it says here how to do shadow work. How do we do this? Shadow work involves exploring these unconscious aspects of ourselves in a safe and controlled environment. This can include journaling, meditation, therapy, or working with a spiritual teacher or guide. Okay. The goal of shadow work is to bring the unconscious into consciousness and integrate it into our lives. So, whatever is going in the back of our minds, bringing it forward and dealing with it, okay? And then opening yourself up to be whoever you are, okay? Now, we do this, um, when we do this, it gains a greater understanding of our motivations, reactions, behaviors, and make changes to live more of an authentic life. We have all multiple parts to ourselves, yes. And if we don't embrace the entirety of our being, we wouldn't be able to live a whole, authentic life. The process of integrating the shadow leads to a self acceptance, forgiveness, and unconditional love. And this is for ourselves. Okay. So keep that in mind. This is about you. Now, in order to flush out our shadow, you must be willing to catch yourself in moments of negativity and question where it stems from. So, for instance, say you and your husband, and you've had told your husband to work on something that needs to be worked on. Say a doorknob needs to be fixed, right? And you've told him about the doorknob, and the doorknob has not been fixed yet. And you keep reminding him, hey, look, you need to do the doorknob. The doorknob has not been fixed. And then all of a sudden you say, you know what? I expected you not to do it because that's what you've shown me all this time. You're not going to take care of what needs to be taken care of. That was a very negative thing to say because we never asked him why hasn't it been taken care of, right? Is there something else you have to do? We just automatically accuse him that, oh yeah, I knew you weren't going to do it. Okay. Instead of doing that, step back and say, you know what? He does do a lot. He's busy. I won't get angry this time. I know the doorknob needs to be fixed, but I can give it some time. If we say that, that would help us move forward and not being upset about it, but making sure it's been done. I mean, making sure, excuse me, I'm sorry, making sure that we've checked ourselves, right? So, when you notice yourself becoming irritated, anxious, angry, or sad when facing your shadow, okay, it is important to take small positive actions that improve your physical and mental well being. Drink more water than you think you need, dress up more, okay, shower, cleanse your face, eat something healthy and light, do breathing exercises, or listen to music you enjoy. Okay. You know that discomfort will pass and you will feel like yourself again. So before you go, you done snapped off, or before you get to the point where you're going to snap off, walk away. Walk away because you've already said what you needed to say. You needed that door fixed, right? So you need the doorknob fixed. So the best thing to do is to just walk away and go do something else. And don't make that the center point of your conversation or your communication with your husband. Because if you don't fix that, if you don't do these things and you don't fix that, you're going to continue coming back to him with this anger, just blowing him up for no reason. So that's good. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people, right? Now, he could have snapped back and probably went there on you, but he didn't. Okay. And if he would have done that, and you're not knowing how to work your shadow work, if you hadn't done your shadow work, you guys would have been back and forth, back and forth. But if you've done that, and if you would snap back, you can recognize, well, he's irritated. He's doing the best he can. Those are the type of things you have to have compassion for them, because again, he hasn't done his shadow work either. Okay. The shadow carries all the things we do not want to know about ourselves or do not like. While difficult and painful, it is important that we work at owning our shadow to bring it into a relationship with our consciousness, Owning up to our shadow is an important part of self-awareness and healing. As you go through, they're talking about the book, you're going to remember to show parts of yourself unconditional love. Okay. So you're going to be able to figure out the parts of you that you have been so angry at, and you've been so miserable with. Okay. And show it unconditional love. Hey, I made a mistake. I did that. Hey, I was very nasty to him. I shouldn't have done that. And maybe I need to go apologize. And maybe I'll feel better and then he'll feel better, because you don't want him in a frenzy all the time because he hasn't done what you said. All right. So now we talked about the psyche. Now let's talk about the mindset. The mindset consists of self-compassion, because, hey, we need self-compassion for ourselves. We need to learn how to understand how important self-compassion is. Okay. One of the key aspects of shadow work is self-compassion. When we begin to explore the shadow, it can be challenging to face the parts of ourselves that we reject or hide. It is important to approach shadow work with a non-judgmental attitude and to treat yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you would offer a friend. So know that you being nice and kind to your friends when they're going through something, you see how nice and calm you are with them, you need to do that to yourself. And it's very hard because we're hard on ourselves. But in order for us to be our authentic self, these are the things we have to do, right? Self-compassion involves failures. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Self-compassion involves recognizing and accepting our own human limitations, failures, and experiences of suffering rather than harsh self-criticism and judgment, because we are so good at that. And we say it out loud lots of times. Oh, yes, I know. We say it out loud. Definitely. Um, for example, I had to do a video. So I was doing one of my videos for my clothing line, right? And as I was watching the video, I was so disappointed in myself. I don't know why. When I did the video, I was so disappointed. I was upset. I felt bad about myself. The whole 9 yards, feeling bad, right? So something said, sit there and watch it, because you can go back and watch it. So I went back to watch it, And I was criticizing myself, but I also started to feel like, why are you doing this? So the more and more I was watching myself, I was picking out the things that I criticized myself about, but I also started feeling better. And I don't know where that came from, but I was feeling better even though I was criticizing myself. I was feeling better at the end when I finished. I was like, okay, it wasn't that bad. I don't know why that happened, but it did. So I wasn't doing no shadow work. I was eating myself up big time because I thought I needed, I guess. So it says our culture often emphasizes perfectionism and individual achievement. We love to talk about all the things that we have, all the things we've achieved. And when everything is about personal, nobody really cares about what we achieve, to be honest with you. People really don't care. They don't. The achievement that we do is for us, it's not for anybody else. So, but a lot of times, we want people to know that we got all these accolades and certificates, and we want people to know that for some reason we do. And I think it's because we're trying to validate ourselves to people. Because I know I used to do that. I needed to validate myself to others, not to myself, but to others, because that's my personal achievement, right? Okay. All right. So it says, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self criticism when we fall short. Oh my God. Oh my God. Did that just say that to me? Oh, it was speaking to me, nobody else. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Self compassion is the foundation of a meaningful life, for it is only through the lens of kindness and understanding toward ourselves that we can truly see and accept others. Okay. So I always say, and I think it's in my book, In Search of You, where I said people treat you the way you treat yourself. And there it goes right there. People will treat you the way they watch you treat yourself. Because people pick up on your energy like you pick up on their energy. It's proven, right? So, going forward, now it's talking about the next thing we're talking about grounding. Grounding comes in, and it's talking about the importance of grounding. What is grounding? Another important aspect of shadow work is grounding. Shadow work can be intense and emotionally challenging, and it is important to take steps to ensure that you are in a safe and stable state of mind before and after the process. This can include meditation, deep breathing, or other practices that help you feel centered and grounded. Whenever you need it, flip to the grounding technique, okay, and learn how that works. Okay, that's in the book, but we're not doing that from the book. But we might find it in here. Um, Grounding is a technique that helps to anchor us in the present moment because we're all over the place. We're thinking about the past. What did I do bad in the past? And I don't want to take this to the future. We're ignoring the present altogether, ignoring that maybe it's just, I need to just, for a moment, sit still for just a moment, calm my nerves. 5 exhale and inhales. Count them, okay? And bring yourself back to the present moment because that's what we do. To connect with our bodies and to find stability and balance in a chaotic world. Yes, grounding is about being fully present in the moment in our own bodies. Okay. It helps to reduce stress and anxiety by bringing us out of our heads, okay, into the present moment. because we're thinking back and we're thinking forward. We're totally wiping out what is going on in our lives right at this very moment. Grounding can also help to increase focus and concentration. This is what I do. I know y'all was like, golly, she just talks about herself all the time, because I can tell you what I experience. That's my story, right? So sometimes I will go outside in my yard, take off my Crocs, and walk barefoot. And I do it, I usually try to kind of time myself to walk back and forth. And it looks funny because our house is facing the road, and people probably walking by like, what in the world is she doing? I'm grounding myself. I don't do it in my backyard. I like my front yard for some reason more than I like my back. I don't know why. But I do it in the front yard, and I walk back and forth. And I'm thinking, and I'm doing my gratitude affirmations, and I'm doing this. I say I'll give myself about 10 minutes to do walking back and forth. I needed that. There's another aspect also of grounding yourself and getting what you're needing, your energy, and all of this being reignited. Hugging a tree. And I said to myself, I don't know which one of my trees I can hug. I don't know if I have a small enough tree to hug. I know I have some big trees, but I don't know if I have some small trees to hug. I can't remember. I'll have to see. I have to go back out there and look, right? That will be funny. So it says here, it is important to ground yourself before and after you're using, once you start the shadow work. So ground yourself prior, before, and after. Okay. Here are a few ways to easily ground yourself. Number one, simple recognition. Recognize common humanity. Remember that everyone experiences setback, failures, and moments of suffering. You are not alone, okay? And your experiences are normal. They are a normal part of the human experience, okay? Number two, self care. Engage in activities that bring you joy, relaxation, and a sense of well being. This can include things like exercise, hobbies, spending time with loved ones, and getting enough sleep. I think sometimes I oversleep. I take a nap every day. I don't know about you guys. I can do that. I take a nap it's like just me and dogs hanging around, the dogs hanging around. My husband might be outside or doing something. So I'll take a nap in a heartbeat. Between 2 and 3, I get tired. I don't know about you guys, but around 2 or 3 o'clock, I'm tired. I take me a good night, and then I'm refreshed, right? It's not a long nap, but I get refreshed, right? Number 3 is affirmations. I just told you, when I do my grounding and I'm walking, I do gratitude affirmations, looking at all the things that I am thankful for, right? Using positive affirmations can help reduce stress and increase feelings of well-being. And we have I have a whole audio book of affirmation. I think it's like 1001 affirmations. And it was funny that I actually listened to each and every one of them. It took me a while, but I did. Maybe we'll be able to play some of those. Number 4 is sensory stimulation, engaging our senses through activities such as walking in nature, right? Smelling essential oils. I keep candles right by my desk. All right. Um, or eating nourishing meals can help to bring us into the present moment, right? And last but not least, deep breathing. We know that is so important. Taking slow, deep breaths can help to calm the mind and reduce stress. Wow. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's see here. So We'll talk a little bit real quick about how to spot your shadow self. I think this is going to be very, very important. Okay. Now, spotting your shadow self often begins with noticing your triggers, recognizing patterns in behavior and life experiences, and understanding your projections. That's the first thing, right? That's how you spot it, right? Let's say that again. Spotting your shadow self often begins with noticing your triggers, recognizing patterns in your behavior and life experiences, and understanding your projections. How are you projecting that? What type of experiences or triggers that happen to you that you recognize? Okay, that's a trigger. Gaslighting is a trigger to some people. Somebody wants to get in an argument with you, want to say some things to get you all riled up. That's a trigger. Something that happened in your past that was very traumatic, and you see something that kind of correlates with it or is similar to that situation that you're watching happen to someone else. That's a trigger. Okay. Um, and how do you handle that once you've seen it? What happens to you? Pay attention to how you're reacting to what you just saw. Some, for instance, somebody being abused, okay? And if you've been abused in your past, that could be a trigger and that can make you feel some kind of way. You'll feel it all over you. You might not be paying attention to it, but you will feel it. You're either going to be angry, you're either going to lash out, you're either going to cry and go and hide or whatever. You're going to have a reaction to what you just saw. No doubt about it. Okay. Number one, noticing your triggers. Triggers are emotional responses that often are intense and seemingly disproportionate to the situation at hand. They are indicators that a part of you, often a shadow aspect, feels threatened or hurt. When you are triggered, it can feel as if you're reacting automatically without conscious choice. These triggers are a valuable clues pointing toward your underlying unresolved issues or shadows. To spot your triggers, take a step back and objectively look at the situation that caused you to react intensely. Is there a common theme or factor? Could it be a word, an action, a type of person, or even a place that repeatedly causes an emotional upheaval in you? Somewhere that you've gone, maybe a car, maybe a piece of furniture, maybe going back to your childhood, going back to your childhood home, being around some of your childhood friends and family members can trigger that trauma, right? That's number one, noticing your triggers. Number two is recognizing patterns, knowing what patterns are. Patterns are repetitive behaviors that may not serve you, but seem hard to break free from. They often manifest in your relationship, choices, reactions, or habits. These patterns can be a sign of a shadow self that's trying to make its presence felt. Wow. Recognizing these patterns involves self reflection. Consider the common threads in your past experiences, relationships, and reactions. Are you repeatedly drawn to similar types of relationships or situations only to experience the same outcomes? Do you often react in the same way even when you wish you didn't? These repetitive patterns might indicate areas where shadow work can be beneficial. So keep that in mind when you recognize the pattern of events that are happening that creates this reaction. Okay. And make sure you're paying attention and seeing if you react the same way every time, right? Okay. Number three, understanding projections, understanding what projections are. What are projections? Projections are aspects of ourselves that we unconsciously place onto others, what we project on others. For instance, um, I'm already teed off and somebody wants to talk to me or somebody wants, and I just, for some reason, they haven't done anything to me, I snap at them. No reason. These can be qualities that we both admire and detest. They could be something good and bad. When we have a strong emotional reaction to someone else's behaviors or qualities, it often signifies disowned part of ourselves, a shadow aspect. To understand your projections, consider the characteristics in others that you find extremely irritating or conversely overly admired. Then ask yourself if these traits can be parts of yourself that you disowned or idealized. Hmm. Number four, pay attention to dreams. Your dreams are a rich source of symbolism and unconscious vault. Try to recall and record your dreams upon waking up. Analyze the symbols, emotions, and themes present in your dreams. They can provide valuable insight into your shadows, fears, desires, and unexpressed parts of yourself. The main dream or the running dream most people have is the dream of falling. That dream is a devastating dream. Not devastating, I shouldn't use that word devastating. That's kind of a harsh word. That is a very much, that's a dream I think everybody has. And I think people remember that more than they remember any other dream. It's either that they're falling, right? The next, number five, is explore childhood and past experiences. Reflect on your childhood, family dynamics, and significant life events. Identify any unresolved, traumas or issues or unmet needs that might have contributed to the development of your shadows. Exploring these experiences with compassion and curiosity can lead to profound healing and integration. Wow. Now, talking about integrating your shadow self, real quick here. Let's see. Okay. Integrating your shadow self. Emotional freedom techniques. Wow. Tapping is a powerful therapeutic tool that combines elements of cognitive therapy and acupuncture pressure. Acupressure. It can be a valuable method for integrating your shadow self and facilitating deep emotional healing. Um, and you know what? I used to do this, but I don't do it anymore. And I know it. Tapping yourself. Yeah. And I think it shows you in here how to do that. Okay. It can be a valuable method for integrating your shadow self and facilitating deep emotional healing by combining specific tapping sequences on meridian points with focused attention on unresolved emotions and beliefs. EFT can help release energetic blockages, promote self acceptance, and facilitate the integration of shadow aspects. In this guide, we will explore how to use the EFT tapping as a means of integrating your shadow self and promoting holistic healing. Identify the shadow aspects you wish to integrate. Reflect on the emotions, beliefs, or memories that arise when you think about these aspects. Learn the basic tapping points. Familiarize yourself with the basic tapping points used with EFT. These points include the top of your head, okay, your eyebrow, okay, the side of your eye, under the eye, under the nose, the chin, your collarbone, and under the arm. Oh, wow. Okay. Gently tap each point with 2 or 3 fingers while repeating a relevant statement or focusing on the associated emotion. Wow. Another technique is to use inner child affirmations. Craft affirmations that specifically address the shadows you have identified. Affirmations should be positive, past tense statement that reflect self-acceptance, healing, and integration. Ongoing awareness is a powerful tool for integrating shadows and promoting personal growth. By becoming a butterfly net for your triggers and negative thoughts, you can actively engage in the process of identifying, understanding, and integrating your shadows. This practice cultivates self awareness, empowers you to respond consciously, and opens the door to transformation and healing. I am so excited, you guys, as of right now. I'm sorry, I am, because I think this is so awesome. You know, sometimes when you read something, you pick it back up again. It's awesome. Okay. So now, real quick, I'm going to see if I can do that. So I'm trying to remember the tapping points: the top of your head, your eyebrow, the side of your eye, under your nose, your chin, your collarbone, and under your arms. Did I do it? Did I do it? Let's see if I did it. I did it. I did it. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Definitely gonna do that. Okay. You're like, why are you so excited? Because I think this is so awesome. I'm so glad I went back to shadow work. Okay. Now, the next thing is the emotional triggers. And I'm going to try to go over these real quick. Or, you know what? No, you know what? I'm going to hold these off to our next show. That's what we'll do. So, we found a lot out today about shadow work. We learned how to work it, how important it is. We learned the benefits of it. We talked about um, the four consciousness. Um, we talked about um, grounding, ways we can ground. We talked about. Oh wow, yeah. We talked about enough. We got a lot done today. Um, Tonight, we got a lot done tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you'll go back and watch this again. And again, let's talk about our EFT. What is our EFT? Huh? What does our EFT mean? Emotional, right? I can't even remember what it means. Let's get back in here. Yeah, there it goes. It's called emotional freedom tapping. So we said the top of our heads, right? The top of our brow, right? The side of our eye, under our nose, our chin, our collarbone, and under our arms. Yes. It's called emotional freedom tapping. I'm going to have to share that with my other group too. All right. So, you guys, I want you to have a great night. Thank you for hanging out with me. See you next Thursday. Bye bye. La 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 la. I can't sing.